There's something off about this lightsaber. It is very short. Not as long as this retractable lightsaber that's been coned up into a telescopic design. Yeah, definitely shorter. However, I can make use of both of these in the traditional Jarkai dual wielding motion. Yeah. I can definitely make use of this.
Tanner the Banana. Progressing in your lightsaber training, are you?
Indeed I am, Master Yoda. I am finding that both of these lightsabers individually are not as effective as a longer traditional lightsaber. However, I have found that dual wielding with both these short-ish blades is very effective in its own personal aspect.
Jarkai. The art of lightsaber dual wielding. Very effective in the Jedi Order it is. Especially among notable users such as Ahsoka Tano it is. Very effective it is. Anyways, a challenge I have for you, Tanner.
Okay, Master Yoda, give it to me straight. I am ready for anything you dish out at me.
Make another lightsaber, you must.
Master Yoda, this is the third time you've asked me to make a lightsaber for the viewers. I mean, I've already made 2 videos on how to make your very own lightsaber. I started off with the first video on how to make your very own lightsaber from this lightsaber's design and template, and everyone loved it. But then you go out and ask me to take it a step further with this flick and lock lightsaber that no one asked for, but loved anyways. I mean, seriously, you have 2 incredibly, wonderfully, beautifully made lightsabers that anyone can make at home, and you're just asking me to make a third one again. It's just, what are we doing? Are we just making a collection of lightsabers for General Grievous or something? I mean, what type of lightsaber do you even want me to make this time?
One that is not as flawed as the 2.
Okay, define flawed.
Firstly, light up. They do not. In the name it is lightsaber. Ergo, light the saber.
Master Yoda, these are cheaply made products made out of paper that anyone can make at home, whether they pick or choose how to customize their lightsabers. What they lack in light, they make up for in retraction and extension. And besides, even if I added a light source like a flashlight within the hilt or whatever, the added layer within the blades itself will not allow the blade to illuminate whatsoever. It's just going to block off the light indefinitely.
And not very durable, those lightsabers are. A flimsy lightsaber no one wants.
These are not designed for full force dueling like those NeoPixel lightsabers or whatever. These are light tools designed and reinforced for light dueling, hence the term lightsaber. I mean, seriously, these have fewer calories than most anyway.
And look what happened to the tip of your second lightsaber. Damaged by your younger cousin the last time he used it,
Okay, so he damaged the tip of my lightsaber blade. So what? I can always make another.
And how much more materials are you willing to waste to make hundreds of lightsaber designs until it's nothing but a big glob filling up your entire house,
Okay, fine. You win. Yep, this is for the viewers. You win. I'll make the lightsaber. I'll make it light up. I'll make it sturdier than paper. I'll even make the hilt shinier if I must. I mean, I think I might know what materials I need to get, but I don't even know where I can start.
Searched nearby places for cheap materials I have. Supply you with such I will. The rest I leave to you. Guide the viewers. You must. This way. Come with me.
Yep, okay. Well, we're doing this. Third time's a charm, as they say. Okay, now before we start making our lightsaber, we are going to need some of the tools as are followed. The first we're going to need is a pair of skizzers and a simple roll of tepe. But since it's gonna be a pretty big project and it's gonna include some extra materials, you might also want to consider adding some packing tepe in order to make this lightsaber work out. In case our roll is going to run out. In this case, yeah, I'm gonna be running out. But I got extras. Oh yeah, the other tools we're going to need for this build is a hot glue gun and hot glue. These are going to be very essential for our build. Very, very sturdy too. It will increase the sturdiness of the lightsaber as we move on. As for the ingredients of this project, you're going to need an empty paper towel roll, an empty toilet paper roll, don't ask, a flashlight, batteries, I've used some for some friends' lightsabers, plastic garbage bag, we'll get to that later, and last but not least, 2.5 plastic documents. For this project, you're definitely gonna want to get 3. This counts as 3, but this one has been cut out for later. You're only going to need this for a singular piece. Don't mind the crease in the center. I tried making a curve lightsaber hilt just like Count Dooku's and thought this would be a good idea, but I'm innovating. So yes, those are all the materials you're going to need. The paper towel roll, the toilet paper roll, flashlight batteries, plastic document holders, plastic bag, and yeah, those are the ingredients. But that's not all. The paper towel roll is simply just not going to be enough for you to hold in your hand while the blade is flicked out, which is why you need cardboard as a support. Oh yeah, and paint, if you want to paint your hilt too, if you want to. But if you really want a shiny finish to your hilt, I would recommend getting the gold or silver decorative cardstock that you can get at your local dollar store. Now, funnily enough, when I bought this from the dollar store, I actually thought that this variant of gold was the only gold that was available, so I thought, yeah, that's close enough. I can make do with that. But what I didn't realize was that there were 3 variants of this kind of gold. There you have the regular gold, the glittery gold, and then the final one that I consider the best one being the chrome gold variant. And this is the variant that I used for my lightsaber here, for my lightsaber hilt. Here, I'll show you. Now, here is my entire lightsaber hilt, the trademark banana-styled lightsaber hilt. As you can see here, I have used the chrome gold variant of this type of paper. I didn't even know I had this until I opened the pack of my first pack of cardstock. I was initially going to use the very paper that you saw on the cover, not realizing that this was a variant. So I ended up using this as my variant. So yeah, I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you're the type of guy who wants the shiny variant, well, you definitely go for it, because not only is there chrome gold, there's also a silver variant at the dollar store if you wanted to get some of that. That said though, once you've gathered your materials, it is now time to finally make your very own lightsaber. First order of business, you're gonna want to take your plastic document holders and peel them stickers off. Okay, now to start off your blade, you're gonna want to take a singular sheet of the plastic from the plastic folder that you cut out. Now, keep in mind, this is the most important part of making the blade. This will define the shape, the entire shape of the blade as a whole. And I'm going to show you why now. So what you're gonna want to do is you're just gonna want to roll it up pretty simple. This is just standard style. Just roll it up into a simple straight tube. Nothing too fancy or anything. Now the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to turn this into a cone shape. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your finger into the bottom of the blade, and you're going to want to hold the top. Now, at the same time, twist your finger counterclockwise, as well as twisting the tip clockwise. From here, once you take your finger out, you're going to have a slight cone shape. I know there's not much of a difference in looking at it, but once you look at the top and the bottom, the top is much more narrower than the bottom, and that is exactly what we're going to want. Because, as mentioned before, this is the very piece that will define your blade's shape. Once you have it shaped like so, you're going to want to take a simple strand of tape, find the flap from the bottom, and you're going to want to seal that in. Because if this is going to extend from a blade piece, we're going to need to find a way to have it stop at a certain extension point without the piece narrowing and sliding out. We don't want that. Now on to the next step. And now that you've made the most important cone-shaped part of the blade, what's next to do is we're just gonna have to layer a piece of the white garbage bag onto the cone. You don't need to layer any layers on top of it, just one simple lengthy strand that you just need to cut out. You just need to cut out just one lengthy strand and then just tape it around the tip. It's nothing too complicated. It's pretty simple. It's simple as that. You might be wondering, why this? This be why. Can you tell what is wrapped around the entire segments of the blade? Yeah, it's the same garbage plastic material that I've showed earlier. It's very important because it will spread the light evenly throughout the blade and will give us this amazing lasery sword feeling right here. Now then, back to the build. Okay, so now that you've gotten your generously cut out piece of plastic garbage bag, the first thing you're going to want to do is tape this piece onto the tip. Why is that? Because if you just prematurely wrap it around without anything sticking onto its surface first, well, what you're going to end up having is the skin just sliding off. And you'll just be left off with a naked blade tip. Yeah, you don't really want any of that. And now that you've wrapped the blade part, we move on to the next step. We cut these both into square sheets next. Once you've done that though, don't throw these pieces out yet. They're going to be very essential to the build. Next step of this process, remember this? Well, we're going to take this plastic sheet, we're going to place this about 3 inches within, but on an angle so that this corner can come on first, making the process of rolling it into a coned tube much easier. As we roll, the tube will curve slightly, leaving us a perfectly rolled tube that will interlock with the tip here. As soon as you're done that, you can just tape that up and tape this bottom vertically for extra security. And if you thought we were going to be moving on to the next section of the blade, oh no, we are only halfway done this section. The next part of this section is layering it with this on top. Why did we add a layer of the plastic over top of the second section, you ask? Durability. That's why. Anyways, we gotta cover this section in the same plastic as the top. We'll be back to you. That being said, make sure that the garbage piece that you use is wider enough to be wrapped around this much wider piece than the previous. That also being said, it is now time for us to make the third section of our blade, made in the same way that the section is made. Let's just skip on over, shall we? And now that your third section of the blade has been created in the same way that the second has been created, your collapsible blade is now 95% complete. You thought we were completely done with this blade? I mean, we kind of are done with it, but not completely. As you can see, in order for this blade to actually complete its function, it needs a light source from underneath, giving the blade its classic glow from top to bottom. I know it looks blue from the screen, but it is white, I guarantee you. Now, what we're going to need to do is find a way to stick the flashlight right in the bottom of the blade. Good news for you, I have a way to do that. All we need to do is take this strand of cardboard and wrap it around the tip of the flashlight. And if you happen to find that the strand is a little too long to the point where it wouldn't be able to just fit in like such, feel free to cut off some excess. Though if you feel as though this piece is a little way too loose to the point where it'll just slide off, you can always just add an extra layer of cardboard to add much more security. Once you got the extras added on, you can just jam and twist that in as much as it can go. And if it has its point, that has its stop point, you might as well just stop there. And there you have it, your blade. But some of you might not want to be stuck with a blaring white blade, unless you know you really want to, in which case, yeah, it's your blade, you can do whatever you want with it. But if you really want to add some color to it, remember this? You're going to cut a pretty big piece of it. You know what you're going to do with it? You're going to Sharpie it with whatever color you want. I'm using blue because that is what my younger cousin, my Padawan, Elijah, wants. You remember Elijah, right? From my boxing video. Oh boy, this Sharpie is not doing too good. I'm gonna make the most of it. Make it shine blue. You're basically just gonna need to color in all of these sections. Make sure you don't Sharpie your hands. If you must, get a responsible adult to help you with it. Then, once you're done, that's terrible. I'll be back. And now, once you've Sharpied this piece with the color of your choice, you're going to want to fold it inwards just to make sure that that ink doesn't get anywhere, especially on your fingers. You're going to seal that area. Possibly these other areas. I don't see any issue with these areas, but I'm going to tape them up anyways. We're now going to take our flashlight, put what is essentially now our kyber crystal over top of the lens, while at the same time trying to jam both of these up there at the same time. The extra cardboard that you put in, you could probably take out as the crystal. May be more than enough to seal it on in there. But now, as soon as you're done, you can ignite your blade, and now it's your color of choice. See it on camera. Now, let's make a test and ignite the blade. Ah, look at that. That is beautiful. That is a very nice blue. This is just wonderful. Amazing colored blue. Elijah is definitely going to love this. Now, some of you might be wondering why I've not taped the flashlight completely on. After all, I can just unscrew the bottom and I can just replace the batteries. Well, there's a special reason why I haven't completely glued or taped it on. I've added the feature to put it on and take it off whenever I need, because I can, or you can, interchange the kyber crystal into whatever color you want. As you can see, I'm using green. So I put it under a lens, I ignite the blade. The blade is now green, or a lighter blue, depending on how you see it. I've not thought through with this one. Now there is something funny that's happened in real life. When I got done my yellow lightsaber, even though it looks yellow on screen, many people actually thought this was a green lightsaber blade, or even a limeish green, or a yellowish green. Little do they know, this proves otherwise. Oh boy.
Dude, I don't even know. If you want it to look a little more green, just fold it over top of itself and the color will just look far more presentable that way. But anyways, now that we're done, let's just get to the next part.
And this next part is the next part that I forgot to mention. Neglected to even. Aluminum tape on a plastic, cut a circle out of it, then tape it over on the top of the tip. This is very essential, the very thing I neglected to mention before, but will present to you now. Get on. Get on, sucker. And now that that's done, the light that shines out will be reflected back downwards, illuminating the whole blade, even though that part is just minuscule. But now with that done, let's move on to the hilt. Now for the hilt, you're typically gonna want to make sure that the entire blade can fit through the hilt. If it can't, and if it's just way too wide, you can always just trim some access, but if the blade is thin enough that it can slide through the hilt, then you don't have much to worry about, you're all covered there. Anyways, our next part of the project, we're going to make an emitter for the lightsaber. What we're going to do is take this empty piece of toilet paper roll, slide it in, make a little crease all the way down to the blade's limit. Next, you gotta hot glue that big old flap onto its side. Once you got that done, just press it on there, press it on. Maybe add in a little bit more glue if it's not enough. Once that's been done, you have an artificial stopping emitter for the hilt. Reinforce with tape if needed. Once your emitter is done, you want to shove that sucker right into the hilt and glue around all of the edges to make sure that it is fully secure. Looks like we did it, guys! We're practically done our homemade lightsaber already! And now, younglings, we are now finally endued with the power of the Force! Yeah! I spoke too soon.
Indeed, I did speak too soon. However, we are almost done our lightsaber. There is only like 95% of the blade that needs to be completed. And we only have like fewer items left to do so, involving one singular piece of cardboard and the memorable access from our blades. Now what you're going to need is a generously sized piece of cardboard that you're going to want to cut a little slit into the middle so that you can layer one piece over top. Tape it down if you must. And then once a peak has been formed, you're going to fill the inside of this piece with hot glue, even out the sides as much as you can. It doesn't have to be necessarily big, just about this much here. And then after that's been done, you let this piece harden Why must we have this piece, you must ask? Well, there's a simple reason for it, my friends. This piece involves this, simply. The next piece you're gonna need is one of these pieces. One that is 4-sectioned. What you're gonna need to do for this one is take the tip of the blade and lower it a little lower under the rim of the emitter. Place the piece under the hilt at the flashlight as you guesstimate what point the flashlight is just going to fall, and then snip off the access as your guide as you map this down. You're then going to need to cut out at least 2 of those sections and tape them into a cross. The next part you're going to do is you're going to take this piece and hot glue it right onto the center of this plastic cross, where we can then tape all of the sides on the cross right onto the hilt, holding this flashlight in place, giving us a chance to press this flashlight down on this button, where you just press down on this tip, where you then press down on this tip to make it light up. And as you press down on the tip, it's going to press the flashlight right onto this piece, where you can just turn it on whenever you want. However, it's not going to be very sufficient, as we're going to need to keep this stable in a certain way, in which we don't need this anymore, where we're then going to need to gently tape all of these sides together, as stubborn as these are, forming a small little gated guide so that it can guide the flashlight to the piece every single time. These things may be a little long, but we can always just trim and attach, or just fold and tape onto one another. Whatever works best to get this saber going each time. And now we have an effective way to get this in and out whenever we want, whether it be changing batteries or the kyber crystal color to change the color of the blade, creating an efficient way to build a lightsaber with simple materials. Now, some of you might also be rooting for me to put a pommel onto the hilt, covering the internals, that is the flashlight. How do we do it, you may ask? Your answer just rolled away. Just cut a slit in the roll and then just slide it over top the bottom of your already made lightsaber hilt. And then cover the slit in paper if you need, taping it all around to the point where the pommel feels just a little rigid enough to the point where it's not going to fall off. Oh yeah, you can take some paper, cut a circle out of it, and cover the bottom too. And now the lightsaber is basically made. It is now time to fully extend and ignite it. That is, if the force from the extension of the blade just won't cause the hilt to just bend forward, making it easily breakable. Which is why I recommend removing the pommel and layer this hilt in cardstock or cardboard. Take your very sturdy sheet, wrap it around the hilt, and glue it into place. And now, young Padawans and younglings of the Force, we have finally did it. We have created our very own lightsaber with a colored blade and a very blank canvas of a hilt, which is fine. Because what are you going to put on the hilt? Well, my students, that is completely up to you. You can customize your hilt in any way that you want. It may not function like other lightsabers that you may have made, but it is still very unique and functional, which is the beauty of it. A unique and functional lightsaber makes for a unique and very creative innovator. You can customize your blade, your hilt, as much as I've customized mine. Oh yes, I also forgot. You want a little latch? I'm willing to teach you how to do so in a separate video, as well as this belt clip right here. But now that we're done what we needed to create, you may have fun with your lightsaber. You want a double-bladed lightsaber, you can make another one and attach one another. A Count Dooku lightsaber? Well, I'm still working on that. Cross-guarded lightsaber? Why not? An Inquisitor lightsaber? I kind of draw the line on. But if you want to make an Inquisitor lightsaber somehow, you do you. With that said and done, thank you for going through the instructions on how to build your sturdy, very powerful, telescopic light-up lightsaber. And I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. And may the Force be with you all.